$214. That's what's sitting in David's account tonight. 11 days until payday. David makes $147,000 a year. He is not a cautionary tale about bad decisions. No crypto, no gambling, no failed restaurant with his name above the door. He went to school, got the degree, got the job, got the raises. He did everything the way you're supposed to do it. And he is sitting in his car, in the parking garage of the apartment building he pays $3,200 a month to live in, staring at that number, $214, 11 days out, on $147,000 a year. David is not an outlier. According to a 2025 Goldman Sachs report, 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. 40% of those earning over $500,000 report the same thing. 4 out of 10 people making $500,000 a year. No cushion. One emergency from a problem. And before you decide that's a rich people problem, a 2025 study found that 48% of people earning $100,000 or more feel they are living paycheck to paycheck. Nearly 1 in 2, 6 figures, paycheck to paycheck. The assumption most people carry is that income solves financial problems. Hit 6 figures and the stress disappears. The data has been laughing at that assumption for decades. Income is not the goal. The gap is. What you earn means nothing if what you keep is $214. That's David's whole problem in one sentence. So let me show you how the trap gets built. Because it doesn't start with one bad decision. It starts long before David ever sees that offer letter. And the first layer of it, nobody puts in the contract. Here's what nobody puts in the offer letter. When your income goes up, everything around you reprices. The neighborhood you're expected to live in. The car that feels appropriate for your title. The restaurants your colleagues casually suggest for a Tuesday lunch like that's a normal thing people do. None of this is accidental. This is a system, one that was running long before your salary became worth targeting. American consumer culture is specifically engineered to absorb income increases before you can save them. The moment you cross a new threshold, a new set of products and social expectations materializes around you. It's like the economy has a radar for your salary, and it adjusts the price of your life before you've even noticed it happened. Bank of America found that approximately 20% of households earning over $150,000 spend more than 95% of their income. 1 in 5, at $150,000 plus, spending essentially everything. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Total U.S. credit card debt hit $1.277 trillion in Q4 2025, the highest since tracking began in 1999, up 66% since 2021. High earners are in that number. 36% of credit card holders earning $100,000 or more carry a balance month to month. These are people whose entire lifestyle technically fits their income. It just leaves no room for anything to go wrong. And something always goes wrong. The system doesn't care how much you make. It only cares how much it can quietly redirect before you notice. And here's the thing. The system doesn't need your cooperation. It just needs your paycheck to go up. The behavioral layer does the rest. And that part is on you. There is a psychological phenomenon called lifestyle inflation. You already know what it is. Knowing what it is does not protect you from it. I say this as someone who has watched smart people walk directly into it while nodding along to explanations of exactly why they shouldn't. Here's how it works in practice. First job, $65,000. Move out of the terrible apartment, buy a decent car, stop eating ramen. Reasonable. Raise, $80,000. Nicer apartment. Reasonable. Promotion, $100,000. Better part of town. Reasonable. New offer, $130,000. BMW lease. The vacation. The nicer version of everything. Each individual decision makes complete sense in isolation. The problem is they stack. And by the time you're at $147,000, you've built a life that costs $143,000 to maintain. And you genuinely have no idea how that happened because every step along the way felt justified. Here's the framework I want you to take from this video. Picture 2 lines on a graph. Green line is your income, climbing steadily upward. Red line is your spending. The terrifying thing is the red line doesn't lag behind. It chases the green line with magnetic precision. Income jumps to $150,000. Spending jumps to $148,000, almost overnight. Nobody talks about the width of the space between those two lines. That gap, that's the only number that actually matters. There's also something nobody talks about: delayed gratification fatigue. You spent years in school, in training, in entry-level positions, telling yourself the reward was coming. Then the income arrives, and the part of your brain that was patient for a very long time decides it is done waiting. The spending isn't irrational. It's a release valve, and a very expensive one that the system is more than happy to keep open for you. And look, I'm not above this. I've watched myself justify things I didn't need because I felt I'd earned them. The human brain is embarrassingly good at making spending feel like a reward and saving feel like punishment. We are genuinely not wired for this, which, now that I say it out loud, probably explains a lot about why the system works as well as it does. But the behavioral layer is only half the story, because underneath all of it, underneath the lifestyle creep and the parallel lines and the release valve spending, there are three specific decisions that don't just drain the account, they seal it shut. The house, the car, the school. Every finance influencer will tell you to cancel your Netflix and stop buying coffee. I'm going to tell you that advice is a distraction. The lattes are not why David has $214 in his account. These three are why David has $214 in his account. At a certain income level, these stop being expenses and start being identity commitments. The neighborhood signals status. The car signals rank. And the school? Nobody says it out loud, but everyone knows. The school is how you signal you've arrived and you intend to stay arrived. And once you sign the dotted line on any of them, you cannot budget your way out. These are fixed costs. They don't flex when things get hard. They just sit there every month, immovable, while everything else scrambles around them. Let's run David's actual numbers. Take home on $147,000 after taxes, roughly $8,900 a month. Apartment, $3,200. Car lease, $650. Student loan, $400. Health insurance, $380. That's $4,630 gone before he's bought a single meal or touched a utility bill. He has $4,270 left for everything else. And everything else has a way of expanding to fill exactly that space. Now here's the counterintuitive part. Research from the Millionaire Next Door found that 94% of millionaires live in middle-class or modest neighborhoods. About 60% live in homes worth less than $500,000. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. The people who actually accumulate wealth behave nothing like the people who appear wealthy. Appearance is not net worth. They're not even related. They just happen to shop at the same stores. Here's the thinking tool I use. Stop pricing things in dollars. Price them in days. If you take home $400 a day after tax and a car lease costs $800 a month, that lease is 2 days of your life. Every month, permanently. Is the car worth 2 days of your life per month? Maybe. If it genuinely matters to you, great. But most status purchases don't survive this question intact. So the system builds the cage, the behavior walks in, the 3 trap doors close, and you're left staring at the gap, which is really just another way of saying you're staring at what this is actually going to cost you over time. And that math is where most people stop looking. Income is not wealth. This sounds obvious. It is apparently not obvious enough. The Charles Schwab 2025 Modern Wealth Survey found that Americans believe you need $2.3 million to be considered wealthy. The median net worth of American households is $193,000. The gap between what people think they need and what they actually have is so large, it's almost funny. Almost. Here's the math nobody wants to sit with. Someone earning $300,000 and saving 5% accumulates $15,000 a year. At 7% returns over 20 years, roughly $650,000. Someone earning $200,000 and saving 30% accumulates $60,000 a year. Same timeline, approximately $2.7 million. The person earning less built 4 times the wealth, because the savings rate is the actual variable. The income is almost beside the point, which I realize sounds insane, but the math doesn't care how it sounds. The US personal savings rate in December 2025 was 3.6%, $3.60 saved for every $100 earned. That is a society running on fumes and calling it a lifestyle. I'll be honest, when I first saw that number, I assumed it was a typo. It's not. It's just what happens when the gap closes and nobody notices because the income line kept going up, and that felt like progress. Which means the exit from this trap has nothing to do with the next raise. It never did. And the exit itself? It's not complicated. It's just the thing nobody tells you to do first.
Getting out is not complicated. I want to be clear about that. It's just not easy either. People mix those two things up constantly, and it costs them. The mental model has to shift first. Stop optimizing for the height of your income line. Start caring about the width of the gap. That gap is the only number that actually matters. Not the salary, not the title. The gap. The other thing, and this one genuinely hurts when you first do it, is keeping your fixed cost frozen when your income jumps. No new lease, no upgraded apartment. Not immediately. Give it 12 months. Which I realize sounds like advice your accountant gives you right before you stop calling your accountant. But just don't sign a contract. Because once you sign, you've locked in a new floor for your spending. And floors only go up. Automation does the rest. Not budgeting. Budgeting is just willpower with a spreadsheet attached. And willpower loses eventually. Automation moves money to investments the day your paycheck lands. Before you see it, before you think about it. Money you never see sitting in your checking account is money you never find a reason to spend. That's the whole trick. And I hate that it works this well. Set it up once. Honestly, that's basically the whole move. It sounds almost insultingly simple until you realize almost nobody actually does it. David is still in that parking garage. $214, 11 days out. A life that looks exactly like success from the outside and feels nothing like it from the inside. I don't have a clean resolution for that. I don't think there is one. The trap isn't about being stupid with money. It's gravity. Things fall when nothing's holding them up. That's not a character flaw. That's just physics. The question was never whether you make enough. Plenty of people making enough are broke. The question is what you're actually building with it. If this hit, subscribe. If it helped, like it. If I got something wrong, dislike it. Genuinely, I'd rather take the L than have you leave with bad information. This is Breaking Money. See you in the next one.